This is Blugold News Now, your spot for current events, campus news, and everything in between. Now live from Tower Studio, it's BNN with your hosts, Elizabeth Lindahl and Samantha Burnett.
Good evening, I'm Samantha Burnett.
And I'm Elizabeth Lindahl.
Coming up tonight, a Blugold who is sharing his new music.
An update on Punxsutawney Phil's weather shenanigans.
And your weekly recap of Blugold sports on BNN Blitz.
But first, a popular UWEC staff member made a shocking announcement. Late Wednesday morning, Chancellor James "Jim" Schmidt announced his departure from UW-Eau Claire after nearly 12 years. He has decided to part ways with the university and accepted a position as the president of James Madison University. In a statement to students, Schmidt says, quote, "UW-Eau Claire is a very special place, and I am most grateful to the many student leaders who have helped me as we work together to create a stronger university," end quote. While he is sad to leave the university, Schmidt is thankful for his time here and looks forward to the rest of his term ending June 30th. Jay Rothman, Universities of Wisconsin president, announced that Mike Carney will serve as interim chancellor starting July 1st. You know, Sam, I'm actually really sad that the Chancellor Jim era is coming to an end on this campus.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird thing to kind of think about. I mean, I haven't been here super long, but it's still weird to think about not having him here.
Right? And I mean, I'm going into my last semester next fall, and I think it's going to be really interesting having a new chancellor for, one semester, and then it's like, well, thanks for everything you've done for 3 months. But
yeah.
We wish Chancellor Schmidt the best on his next journey.
Yeah. UWEC junior Hunter Barbero will be performing his song, "What Are We Gonna Do With You?" along with a variety of new original songs at the cabin this weekend. Hunter has been working on an album of his own, stating, "I typically only do covers, but I've been working on an album of my own. Everything's pretty fresh, but I'm really excited to share what I've got with my friends." Hunter is also one of 5 members of a band called The Doghouse. They are currently working with students who are earning their recording arts certificate to record their new 4-song EP. If you are interested in hearing Hunter's new music, he will be performing in the cabin this Saturday starting at 6 p.m. and will last around 2 hours. If you'd like to check out The Doghouse, their next performance will be April 11th, and you can follow their Instagram at thedoghouse.band.
Well, coming up after the break, a look at a unique experience 20 minutes from campus.
And a preview of a fundraiser for mental health.
Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Leo and I host Home Screen at TV10. Every other week I bring you the best gaming content, reviews, news, and video game clips. If you're a gamer, this show is made for you. Tune in at mytv10.uwec.edu or on our YouTube channel, UWEC TV10.
Well, welcome back to BNN. Sam, did you know that there is a farm close to campus that offers a spot for community members to spend time with baby animals?
I did not.
Well, Govin's Farm in Menominee is officially open for its 20th season. The farm raises their own goats, lambs, pigs, and chickens, along with having several other animals and crops on the property. Every spring, they open up a lambing barn to allow community members to experience the agricultural world in a unique way. Participants can enter the barn and hold baby chicks, lambs, and piglets. The family farm will have employees available as well to help educate people on the importance of farming and the care of the animals. You can visit the farm on Saturdays and Sundays up until Easter Sunday.
Next month, the Red House of Hope, a nonprofit retreat in Chippewa, is hosting its 2nd annual Hope Restore fundraiser. The fundraiser will include food, raffles, auctions, impact testimonies, and more. The proceeds will help provide mentorship, guidance, and resources for those in need. The Red House of Hope strives to help those struggling with mental health, addiction, and poverty. The fundraiser will be held at Columbus Hall in Chippewa on Saturday, April 5th. Tickets are $25 and can be purchased on their website, redhouseofhope.com, under the events tab at the bottom of the page. I think we've talked about this before, but I think it's really cool how much the community does to really help each other, whether it's those struggling with homelessness or those struggling with mental health. It's really cool to see how many different places and businesses really want to help their community members.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really unique aspect of Eau Claire, that we have so many amazing opportunities for mental health, homelessness, like you mentioned, addiction, everything. There's something to help anyone who needs it.
Yeah.
In this community. Well, BNN will be right back after this break.
Stick around for your weather forecast and an update on Blugold Sports on BNN Blitz.
Hi, I'm Evan Claymore, and I host Sounds of the Valley at UWEC's TV 10 station. If you're anything like me, you love live music. Well, on my show, I take the live music and I give it to you. I take the finest musical talent from the Chippewa Valley area and I bring it directly to your screen. So if that sounds interesting, check it out at mytv10.uwec.edu or on our YouTube channel at UWEC TV 10.
Thank you, Sam and Elizabeth. Good evening. I'm Evan Rosnick with your weather report tonight. Whether you stayed home and did nothing or went somewhere interesting, hopefully you all had a good break. However, we're now back to school, as well as the weather of Eau Claire, which probably is not as nice as wherever some of you went over break. I wasn't a huge fan of coming back to some snow, and I'm sure many of you weren't really happy with that either. Hopefully today's and tomorrow's weather will make up for that. As we had an average temperature of 51 degrees with a high of 60 and a low of 41. Throughout the week, it looks like we'll be having some cloudy spring days ahead of us. We'll start on Friday with a nice high of 63 degrees and a low of 36 degrees with cloudy weather. However, when there are clouds, there must at some point be rain. Saturday and Sunday have similar conditions for which you can expect rain and highs of 41 to 42 degrees. And the rain may cease, but the clouds will remain on Monday, which exhibits temperatures similar to Sunday, with a high of 41 and a low of 23. You'll probably be fooled if you expect much sunshine on Tuesday, April 1st, as those clouds will probably hang around just a little longer to mess with us. At least we should be getting a little warmer with a high of 46 and a low of 32. Or will we? We'll just have to wait and see what tricks are in store for us. Speaking of April traditions, the first April shower that will bring May flowers will be on Wednesday with a high of 50 degrees and a low of 34. Hopefully we're all done with the snow and it will only be rainy from now on. Around the region, we're seeing some warmer temperatures than last week, at least if you're in the Chippewa Valley. Chippewa Falls is currently at about 50 degrees, Eau Claire is at 51 degrees, and Menominee is at 52 degrees. Lake City and Red Wing, Minnesota also warmed up a bit. They're both sitting at 53 degrees. Minneapolis and Bloomington, however, are somehow at the exact same temperature as this time last week, of 52 degrees. I guess they must be saving their warmer days for later, while we in the Chippewa Valley want to warm up right away. Like it or not, that's the weather for this week. Come back next week to see if we get more April showers that bring more May flowers, if Bloomington and Minneapolis finally decide to change their temperature, and if Puxaphony Phil comes back and decides to fool us all by making the weather worse, or maybe better, on Tuesday. With your BNN weather, I'm Evan Rosnick. Back to you, Elizabeth and Sam.
Thanks, Evan. BNN Blitz is back this week with more Blugold Sports updates.
Over to you, David and Eli.
Welcome to BNN Blitz. I'm David Abel.
And I'm Eli Bennis with your weekly recap of Blugold sports action.
The trip down to South Cocoa Beach, March 19th through 21st, was a successful one for the Blugold softball team as they went undefeated, winning all 6 games. The Blugold started the Space Coast Springs game with a bang, defeating Rutgers Newark 8-0 in 5 innings, and Western Connecticut State 10-0 in 6 innings on the opening day. Fourth-year pitcher J.C. Scholes dazzled for the Blugolds against Newark, allowing just 1 hit in 5 innings of work. Against Western Connecticut, the Blugolds tallied 11 hits and struck out just once. Fourth-year pitcher J.C. Schultz built on her hot start, throwing 6 scoreless innings on 49 pitches. On the second day of the tournament, the Blugolds edged out Connecticut State 13-10 in 8 innings. The Blugolds' offense erupted in 4 runs in the 8th inning, with a 2 RBI coming off the bat off Molly Marquardt, sealing the win for the team. Later in the day, the Blugolds extended their spring games winning streak to 4, defeating Millikan University 9-6, in large part due to their 9-run first inning outburst. The team entered the last day of the spring break games undefeated, outscoring opponents 40-16 in the first 2 days. They continued their winning ways with an 8-5 victory over Hamilton College, an 11-0 win in 5 innings over Rutgers Newark. Left fielder Paige Lathrop was key in the Blugolds' win over Hamilton, going 3-4 with 2 RBIs. The Blugolds received another dominant pitching performance from their staff, with Lauren Trottier throwing 5 scoreless innings. The offense erupted for 14 hits and committed 0 errors in the field. With the tournament sweep, the Bluegolds are now 14-2 on the season and are on a 12-game winning streak.
Bluegolds baseball traveled down to Davenport, Florida, where they competed in the Rustmat Invitational March 19th through the 22nd. The Bluegolds entered the tournament with a 3-3 record and a 2-game losing streak. On the first day of the tournament, they were able to stop their losing skid with a 17-8 win over Fredonia. The Bluegolds had 4 Bluegolds with multi-hit performances, with freshman catcher Carter Veith collecting 4 hits off of 4 doubles and driving in 5 runs. On the next day, the Bluegolds fell to William Patterson University 13-5, allowing 21 hits. On the third day, the Bluegolds took on St. Norbert College, in which turned out to be a tight matchup. After 9 innings, the score was tied up at 1 until the top of the 13th, when Carter Veith hit a 2-run go-ahead home run, giving the Bluegolds a 3-1 lead that they would hold on to, defeating St. Norbert 3-1. Later that day, the Bluegolds faced the College of Worcester and got on the board quick, scoring 3 first-inning runs. They weren't able to hold the lead, falling 5-4. For their last game of the Invitational, the team faced Framingham State University. After scoring 4 runs in the first inning, the Bluegolds lengthened their lead, scoring 14 more runs in 6 innings of play. Center fielder Drew Saliers had a perfect day at the dish, going 5 for 5, driving in 4 runs. With an 18-8 win, the Bluegolds finished the Invitational with a 3-2 record, improving their season record to 6-5.
Gymnasts Megan Dolan and Ella Montgomery competed in the NCGA Nationals March 22nd, hosted by Gustavus Adolphus College. Both gymnasts had impressive performances, finishing in the top 20 in balance beams. Dolan, a Nationals returner, turned in a score of 9.750, which is good enough to be her season high, placing her 14th. Freshman Ella Montgomery finished with a score of 9.725, finishing tied for 17th place. Congratulations, Megan Dolan, Ella Montgomery, on terrific seasons.
The Bluegolds indoor track and field teams competed at the NCAA Championships in Rochester, New York on March 14th and 15th. The teams earned multiple All-American honors and a national title. On the 14th, the women's team claimed 6 All-American honors, showcasing strong performances across multiple events. On the 15th, the men's team added another 5 All-American honors, with the highlight of the championships coming from senior Adam Strauf, who secured the Bluegolds national title in the shot put. The men's team finished 15th overall, while the women's team finished 14th overall, wrapping up a successful weekend for the Bluegolds.
That's all for the World of Bluegold Sports. I'm David Abel.
And I'm Eli Bennis. Back to you, Sam and Elizabeth.
Thank you, David and Eli. Welcome back to Behind the Spotlight, our post show where we talk about pop culture happenings, we review books, movies, all those sorts of things. This week we will be featuring a book and a movie that came out over spring break.
That's right, we'll be sharing our predictions on the new Hunger Games book, which I don't know about you, but I did not realize that was dropping.
I know,
when
it dropped so soon.
All of a sudden, it's all over my social media, and I was like, hello?
Yeah.
How do I get my hands on this? I have since made 3 Target runs and forgotten to pick up the cover, or to pick up the book. Yes. It's been a lot of Target runs. So the new Hunger Games movie is Sunrise on the Reaping, which I almost called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which we will be talking about Rachel Ziegler later on in the segment.
Yes.
So she'll have her moment. But I'm actually really excited to hear Haymitch's side of the story.
Yeah.
Because I honestly, I've read the original Hunger Games and the Songbirds multiple times. I've seen the movies, but I can't remember who his mentor was. Because after a while, it was just, whoever the victor was, and he was the first victor from District 12. So I think that's kind of...
Yeah, I didn't even think about that aspect of it. That is going to be interesting to see who it is. But I think it will be... I love all the Hunger Games. So I think it's fun to keep it going with this book. And I think it will be interesting to see his side of it and see what it was before Katniss and just how crazy it might have been even at the start.
Right.
So I think that'll be interesting.
Well, and especially after we got Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, getting that, 74 years previously when the first Hunger Games took place, you really got to see how and why the Hunger Games came to be what it was.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be interesting to see Haymitch's story because it happens, kind of right in the middle of, well, not right in the middle, but it happens in between,
Yeah.
you know, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and then
The
the first Hunger Games book.
Yeah.
Which, it's been 13 years since that book was
Yes.
released.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy. I read it almost right away as a kid. I was probably too young to be reading those books,
Yeah.
but my mom had it, and so stole it once
Yeah.
I'd finished all the Harry Potter books, and
I do have to admit, I have actually not read any of them.
oh, okay.
I only watched all of them because when they first started coming out, my brother, he had to read them because he wanted the books, but I just got to tag along and watch the movies. I didn't have to because he had to finish reading it before we could go see it.
Okay.
And I just got to tag along, and I haven't read them since.
Well,
I just go and watch them.
that's okay. I mean, sometimes, you know, the visual aspect, especially when you read some of the scenes, like in the first one where Katniss and Peeta are finally reunited, watching it is tugs on your heartstrings so much, and then reading it also tugs on your heartstrings. But
Yeah.
just seeing
It's
the little
different.
visual, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, with all of them, they did an incredible job with those movies. I love watching them.
Yes.
They're comfort movies, which is really weird to
Yeah.
say, considering the concept. But
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited for this. It is indeed in my Target and Amazon shopping cart for whichever one I check out on first. Could be one, could be both,
Yeah.
but I'm only gonna get one copy of the book.
Yeah. It's just, I think it's really going to be interesting. Obviously, all of them have gone through so much, but I think it'll be interesting because, you know, especially in the first movies, we see kind of like a rough side of Haymitch, you know, so I think it'll be interesting to see what got him to that point.
Yeah.
So,
And especially because we don't really know much of his backstory.
yeah.
Like, we just know that he was really a victor, and then he got into drinking. So it's going to be interesting, like you said, to see how we got there
Yeah.
and where we're going to get there. But, I mean, the casting for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was incredible.
Yes.
I cannot wait to see the casting of this because it sounds like the movie should be anticipated to be released in November of 2026.
Yes, which is interesting. I was reading an article on this, and I guess they've been kind of working on both of them alongside, which I can't remember the author's name, but
Susan Collins?
Yes. She had said how like they haven't done that before, so she was talking about how she's been stressed trying to make sure nothing gets leaked while also trying to figure out like actors for the movie
my
because they've been
gosh.
working on it at the same time. So it's kind of cool to see that they're doing that, and I'm honestly just so excited that like we're getting one so quickly after Ballad of Songbirds.
Because I mean, having, you know, such the big gap between the original 3 books and then Ballad of Songbirds, and now we get, you know, this, I guess it is a prequel as well.
Yeah.
So we have the pre-prequel and then we have the prequel.
Yeah.
And they do such a good job with casting the prequel and pre-prequel actors to match the original series, like Coriolis Snow, which I still don't know how to pronounce his name properly. I say it different every single time I say it. But Rachel Ziegler, her character in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is rumored to be Katniss Everdeen's like distant relative.
Oh yes, there's all those speculations. Yeah.
And I think that they did a really, really good job casting her in that role. But the real question is, how good did they cast her in Snow White, which released last week?
Yes.
Actually, I think a week ago today, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't know what day it is, so I don't remember.
That's okay. But Rachel Ziegler stars as the named character, Miss Snow White, the fairest of the fair, with, I'm going to butcher this last name because I can't remember it off Gail Gallet?
I think it's something like that. I can't remember. I know her from other movies, but I never remember her name.
Yes. As the evil queen.
Yes.
And I mean, in all honesty, it's been a very long time since I've seen the original Sleeping Beauty. Snow White. Oh my goodness. Sleeping Beauty is my personal favorite princess. I say that a lot. But my best friend's favorite princess is Snow White. And so we have bonded a lot between having these 2 classic princesses in our lives. And now, how have you felt with the Disney live action remakes so far?
Some have been really good, and some have not been. I mean, I will admit I haven't seen all of them, but, you know, hearing from others and just seeing clips, I think it's getting a little annoying. I wish that they would just make new things, like, you know, hearing speculations about, like, possibly, like, a Tangled. I'm like, let's keep the classics. The classics are good for a reason. Like, especially, like, one of the main controversies with this movie is that a lot of times they're changing the movies when they're making them live action, and that's making a lot of people frustrated because they want to see a movie that they loved so much in a different form, and then they're just changing the story. And I know that that's where a lot of controversy came with Rachel Ziegler, because in multiple interviews she was saying, you know, like, this movie was made in like 1973 or whatever, and it's different times now, like, you know, it should be different. But yes, it is different times, but it doesn't mean that the story should change. You're still portraying the original story. And I know a lot of people have been upset about her because she has such a bad attitude towards it, because, you know, she's spending hours sitting in this dress for this story that she doesn't actually even like.
Right. And I think too, you know, one of my two top favorite live actions have been the Beauty and the Beast live action and the Aladdin live action.
Okay.
Which both of those stayed very, very close to their original stories, only adding in, you know, 1 or 2 additional songs. And I don't know if you've also noticed, but as we've gotten these live action films, they're starting to stray from the original character's voice. So I actually just saw an article where Snow White originally, in the movie, she's 14 years old.
Okay.
So she's supposed to be very young, very feminine, and she had a very, very high soprano voice. And now they've given Rachel Ziegler, which she's incredible at, a belt. And so it's just kind of, it's trying to show that these girls are more powerful and everything, which is great. But when you meet Snow White, you know, in the Disney parks or at events, she has that high soprano trill. And so I feel like it almost takes away a level of that nostalgia when you take away like the original character voices. And I think too, it also may be very confusing for some young kids because, you know, they're going to go to Disney World and they're going to expect the Rachel Ziegler Snow White.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be her. It's going to be, you know, the Snow White that we grew up with.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly excited to see how it is. I think I'm going to wait until it comes out on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But I've heard some of the music, and the music seems really good.
Which I feel like it would be. Like, she is a really good singer.
She's
I
incredible.
loved hearing her sing in Ballad of Songbirds, but
oh my gosh, yes.
When I hear all these sorts of reviews, it makes me so hesitant. Like, I will admit, I haven't seen the Ariel one either, The Little Mermaid. The last one I really remember seeing was Lion King, I think. I don't remember.
I didn't see that one.
That one, in my opinion, wasn't bad. I know some people didn't like it, which I could understand, but I liked it. But it is, it's sad when they change the story. I get that, you know, times were different then. They don't meet the standards that we have now, but it's still, you're recreating a classic.
Yeah. Don't touch the classics. But if you do, it's okay too.
Yes.
Well, I guess that's all that we have for you tonight.
Join us next week for your latest news, updates, and weather.
And make sure to check us out on mytv10.uwec.edu and at UWEC-TV10 on Instagram and TikTok, as well as subscribe to our channel on YouTube. I'm Elizabeth Lindahl.
And I'm Samantha Burnett. Thank you and good night.